Yo guys, today we're going to watch a video, a Limbus company video about what exactly are the sins. Like the sins are the character, right? Like I think the characters are the sinners, I think. So but I don't know what are the sins are. I don't think in the video that we watched last time, video which one video? This one. I don't think they explain about the sinners. Yeah, I don't think they explain about the sinners. I need to watch. I'm thinking of watching more videos about Limbus Company, about the power system and the world building, and after that I will probably going to watch some music or some of the trailers. Like I know I'm not fast in doing their content, but dude, I have other plans due to playing Arknas and everything, and other games as well. But yeah, let's watch this and see what is actually sins.
You know what's fun? Trauma. There's a
Okay.
reason it's at the heart of many of our greatest stories. You show me a book where a character lives happily ever after, and I don't call that a magnum opus. That's just Shrek. Despite what the sad
Shrek.
backstory community
Hey,
complained,
Shrek is
having
good.
tormented memories isn't all it's cracked up to be. But that all changed in February 2023 with the release of one particular game, Limbus Company. And the following is a recreation of true events. Wow, they're just like me! I can't wait to tell God about this!
Oh.
Damn it! These are the Sinners, the collective name for the 13 playable characters that make up Limbus Company. Why are they called Sinners? We don't exactly know yet, but each one of them
really?
is some form of traumatic incident in their lives they're trying to move past, with each segment of the game's story focusing on a single one. And about now you might be thinking, but Frey, I've gone through bad stuff before and I'm not a sinner. I just feel bad, and that's not a sin. And to that I want to say, I'm so sorry you had to find out this way. These are sins, one of the most paramount aspects of being a sinner.
Oh yeah,
In
yeah.
Limbus
I
Company,
forgot.
you'll get these
I forgot the scenes are in the game mechanic as well. I forgot. There's no greed, right?
as consumable resources whenever you use most moves in its RPG-style fights. Get enough of a certain type and you can dish out some super-powered attacks, or trigger some passive effects. It's a fun, color-coded system that allows you to mix turn-based combat with resource management. But beyond being gaming's latest affront to God, what exactly are sins? I mean, it's not like you get these coins as a literal currency. In Project Moon, the developers of Limbus Company have a history of making sure their gameplay mechanics make sense in their universe. So let's take a moment to find out just what exactly these colorful little icons are made of. And to do that, we'll first have to turn back the clock. Project Moon's made a few games over the years, including their flagship management game, Lobotomy Corporation, and the more acclaimed Library of Ruina, a card battling game that's getting a release on Switch in 2024.
On Switch, interesting.
While all three games take
I didn't
place
know
in the
it was
same
in
universe,
Switch.
there are also web novels that came out in between these
Oh, they have web novels?
games that act as side stories. And this is where we get our first mention of the power of sin, more specifically in the story Leviathan. That's right!
You thought that was the end of my...
Leviathan essays?
Oh, I still have one more
Video.
to give you!
While a lot goes on in the novel, all you really need to know is that it follows the life of a man named Virgilius who is infiltrating an underground art auction to save some orphans. In the
Okay.
process, Virgilius comes across a member of the group called a docent who's giving him trouble and needs to
I need to read.
deal a decisive strike. Knowing this, he starts channeling a power he calls Shin, by
Shin.
clearing his mind and focusing on memories that have a great
So not Sin, Shin? What
emotional
Shin means? I forgot what Shin means.
impact on him. He thinks of the kids he would bring presents to on Christmas Eve. He remembers everything from the colorful wrapping paper to the snow on the ground and the smiles on their faces. Until finally,
So I would assume that sins are how the sin power system work is probably you remember the sin or you remember the crime or or the thing that is related to the sin that you are embodying to develop power. I don't know how the power works.
he recalls a terrible event that would befall them later involving two certain people.
Oh my god! Oh my! Holy shit! Oh no, the kids! Holy shit!
Keeping both the hopeful and crushing memories in his mind, his body moves weightlessly towards his adversary, until finally, two solid rings of light wrap around his leg as it's plunged into the Dawson's abdomen. pushing her off the cliffside and into the abyss. Moved only by his mind, Virgilius walks away from the fight, admiring the power
Holy the blood, holy.
of this light, calling it the power of sin. And it's here I'd like
So it's not just sin, it's just you recalling the some memories that related to your guilt, I guess. I don't know. I don't think they mentioned that he did a sin or anything.
like to bring attention to the kinds of words used in this story. The official Leviathan chapter is translated from Korean, so there were some choices the translators made in how to word the English version. In the process, one translator's note mentions using the proper noun Shin to describe the power Virgilius used. This was due to Shin being the Japanese pronunciation of the Han Chinese character, which pertains to the mind. And if that's jumping through too many linguistic hoops for you, the translators are saying that the power Virgilius uses is meant to be related to the word sin, but also have a root meaning in being from the mind. As a result of this, the community has
So the ability is related to your mind, okay?
interpreted Shin and Sin as being the same thing, or at least very similar in nature. This means that the power of sin isn't literally the power found through sinning, Dad, but instead the power found
Oh, I don't know that reference.
through channeling emotions through one's memories. And since Leviathan ended before Limbus Company came out, we would soon see other characters make use of this power
Oh, the lighting. So it is normal.
displayed by the glowing rings adorning their attacks. However, one group of people notably has not been able to use these rings, and that's the Sinners. Yeah,
Oh, the sinners cannot?
even though this group's namesake involves these dramatic shiny hula hoops, not a single one of them have made these so far. And the idea of Shin doesn't even address the different sin types that make up the resources in the game. So what gives? Are they just bad at their job? Well, jury's out on that for some people, but Project Moon still hasn't fully explained their power system yet. It's actually kind of funny how they do a lot of showing and not telling on this topic in a visual novel of all things. However, I believe we have enough information to not only explain
So this is just a theory video then.
what these kinds of sins are, but why the Sinners are so different from other Shin users. For the sake of this explanation, I'm going to make a distinction between the words we found for this power. Shin will be used to refer to the power found from channeling these thoughts, while Sin will be the different kinds of Shin. If it's easier, think of Shin as me talking about Skittles, while Sin is me talking about flavors of Skittles. And that
Dude, do you really need to say that? Oh my god. Like, it's not that hard to understand. Like,
That's super important because there is one other distinction to make between the Sinners and regular Shin users. The Sinners may not be able to make use of the Rings of Light, but none of the Shin users, even Virgilius, have made use of a single of the Sin resources from the game.
so interesting. So they're able to use Shin, but not the Sin resources. That's...
More specifically, they're not making use of the Sin resources that fuel one of the game's most powerful mechanics, Ego. Now I could make
Okay, no ego?
another video on this topic alone, but Ego in Limbus Company is a power system that allows the Sinners to channel abilities that come from creatures that embody certain experiences and emotions. For
I think... Okay.
instance, a sinner like Merceau could channel wrath and pride sins in order to call upon the power of a rampaging prisoner enraged by being confined. And each sinner has their own ego move that can be channeled from their memories in much the same way. But while there are means for characters other than the sinners to make use of ego in Project Moon's system, nobody is able to use it in quite this way. For my One Piece fans out there, it's like the difference between someone having a devil fruit power and someone else not having any, but being able to lease the powers from any of them for just a moment. And why would it work this way just for them? Because at the start of Limbus Company, every single sinner signed a contract that restricted their power in order to better connect with the treasure the company was made to find. This had the added benefit of being able to use the sin resources. And each of these resources has their own sin type that's channeled based on the emotion the move evokes. Every move in both Limbus Company and the previous game library
Interesting power system. Okay. But it means like the powers are based on the monsters that embodies the sin, right?
Frey of Ruina is based on a certain thought that the user would have in their head.
Okay.
Another example. There's a playable version of Merceau that acts as a chronically overworked office employee with a hammer. Don't ask
Okay.
me why, we'll be here all day. And each of his skills, rather than referring to some special move, refer to some thought or experience of his day-to-day life. Saddle tasks? Well, that's a hopeless reality for a passive office worker. That baby is gloom flavored. Forced break? What, with so much left to do? That's gotta be a prideful action if I ever heard one. Finishing roundup might make for a good attack.
Okay, all the attack is just related to related to his overworked ass.
Name, but for the modern wage slave, that's just a sign that rest is near, so sloth me up, baby. In short, the Sinner's contract is what allows them to easily use a different flavor of Shin to borrow powers based on the different memories they make use of in battle. And the sins are the different ways that power takes form. Now that we know this, let's take a look at what exactly those sins are. Now, some of the sins will have more documented information on them than others, but there's enough to interpret something from all of them. First up is
Okay.
Wrath, which is a
Wrath.
pretty straightforward one.
straightforward.
Wrath is channeled through anger and wanton destruction. If the emotion is best described as leaving everything broken, including yourself in some cases, it'll fall under this. Wrath is also the sin type most likely to inflict the burn status, which gradually does damage over time. Next up is
Guilty.
Lust, which is somehow both the most acknowledged sin in Limbus, but
The most acknowledged,
also the most misunderstood, at
misunderstood, interesting.
least to me. Considering that Project Moon's vibe doesn't usually include people porking, Lust
Okay.
has been used to
That's community's job.
showcase a longing for the human form, any human emotional connection, or the concept of humanity itself.
So it's more related to very strong emotions of love, I guess.
It's also associated with the bleed status effect, which deals
Okay, why bleed? Periods? I don't know why. I don't know why I think of that. I'm so stupid.
deals more damage the more a person moves. Almost like it triggers on someone approaching you. Isn't that sweet? Virgilius also fights an embodiment of lust in Leviathan, which causes him to think back on a moment of how much the kids at the orphanage
Yeah, it's just strong emotion of love, I would assume.
wanted to see him
Okay.
smile. It's also worth mentioning here that just because we're calling these sins doesn't mean they're inherently bad. Then again, this is also the sin that Cromer more than embodies, so fuck me, I guess. And much how I don't care enough to change my own choice of words, our next sin type is Sloth.
Sloth.
This is one of the sins that isn't quite as well known, but
Okay.
both the name and the description of the creature that embodies it suggest that this sin is about anywhere between seeking comfort to laziness and a desire to not move or be
Okay.
moved. What matches up very well, though, is how this is the sin associated with the tremor status effect. Unlike other
Tremor?
effects that deal damage or are used as buffs, those don't count. Tremor is used to stagger and inflict several other debuffs on opponents, making
Oh.
it difficult for them to move. And I just
Oh, interesting.
think that's neat. What's also neat
So sloth is used to slow down the enemies.
is how this next sin acts as a twofer. Gluttony here refers to any emotion of wanting something to an obsessive degree. This can be anything
So it's not just food.
from knowledge to ambition, or just plain food. It's also fitting that gluttony is a sin that takes anything it can into itself, not only because of how its embodiment works, but also because it's acting as the replacement for the greed sin. Yeah, so greed didn't end up making the cut in this list. I've seen a few conversations as to why, but what makes the most sense to me is that if both greed and gluttony were here, they'd feel way too similar.
Yeah, I thought that too. Whenever I think about the 7 deadly sins, like both gluttony, greed, and sometimes lust, they can fall into the same category because they essentially their what you call sins are related to one something excessively. Well, for lust, I guess you can relate it to emotion more than But then again, greed can also be related to emotion. If you see FMB greed, the fact that greed symbolize greed in that what I call the homunculus greed, what was symbolized greed in that moment because he just wants friends. Like holy, that was emotional when I saw that. Holy. But yeah, it's same with gluttony. Like they can really it's very hard. Like they can probably what I call what called divide to wanting something so much into multiple categories like emotion, food, and then personal wealth or something. But then again, it would not be interesting then, because what like the powers will just be related to wealth, which is I don't think wealth has any other qualities that can be interesting to make a power. So yeah, like I have thought before of this thing. Like I've thought like sometimes I like to create power system. I sometimes I like to do some random shit and try to create your own power system like some kid, obviously. Like and I try to kind of like it's kind of very hard to differentiate sometimes between the when you will try to give a power to a scene, like it becomes hard because you try it's hard to differentiate between gluttony, greed, or something less. Like the other sins are easy to differentiate because it's very different. But yeah, but there's a reason why vanity and melancholy is not in the sins anymore.
And this just feels like the right call. Gluttony is also the sin most associated with rupture, which causes those inflicted to take more damage upon being hit. It's just like getting a gut punch after a steak dinner. But could someone explain to me why 7 Heathcliff's forensic skill is gluttony? Like, I'm pretty sure that one was added in for gameplay balance and gameplay theming, but lore-wise, I just don't really see it. This part's not even in the script. Like, I just kind of want to know. And if that fact made you disappointed, then get ready to be in good company, because now we're on to the Gloom Sin. This one's about as direct as wrath, but instead of it being about anger, it's about sadness, lethargy, and helplessness. If Project Moon wasn't careful, this sin could have been lumped together with sloth, but I really like the balance they struck with sloth being more about ignoring problems, and gloom being about drowning in them. It's even more fitting that this sin type is associated.
The fact they're able to differentiate gloom with sloth but not greed with gluttony is kinda, I don't know. Like if they can somehow differentiate between gloom and sloth, like I feel like they can somehow differentiate between greed and gluttony as well. Like generally.
With the sinking status, which lowers the sanity of opponents, causing them to be weaker and less accurate. Also, sinking to luge is just a treat. It may not be gloom, but not a lot can top that. If anything were to try though, that would be pride. Much like sloth and one other sin on this list, there isn't as much information on this one. However, we can still get a good idea of what it represents from the creature that embodies it. To summarize the logs, the wheel has often been the symbol of technological advancement. That may be why pride takes the form of a wheel. It doesn't care if it gnashes at flesh or crushes patches of grass, because it can roll while others cannot. I think we can safely say that any prideful thought involves justifying harming or taking from others because of something you possess, whether that's wealth or some personal trait. Like many of the others, this matches up great with pride skills giving their users the poise status, which allows them to make critical hits. I mean, look, I believe in humility and all that, but if I was a mercenary and could make a pinpoint stab through someone's heart, that'd probably go to my head at least a little. And speaking of things worth stabbing, there's this bastard! Welcome to Envy, the sin type that is no known embodiment at the time of this writing, no mention of all in Leviathan.
Damn. So Envy is mysterious? It's kinda like, like ReZero.
And still gets some of the most infamous attacking skills in the game. The environmental storytelling almost explains itself, doesn't it? This little tumbleweed's done none of the legwork, but still has so much going for it. Plus, with Heathcliff, the man most known for having envy skills, getting his chapter a week after writing this, we'll probably get an info dump about this sucker pretty soon.
Oh, really? Why? Oh, man.
That's not true. I wrote this before the Kanto came out, and we got jack shit, so let's just move on. But
so, in the end, we didn't get anything, okay?
Rather than wait a few weeks, I'm gonna take a guess at what this one means. See, envy skills are associated with the charge status, which is an energy source that the sinners can store up before spending as with the charge status, which is an energy source that the sinners can store up before spending as fuel on some powerful attacks.
Oh, interesting. You can save some Okay.
This guy's got a revenge story on the horizon. I'm seeing this as envy being about taking something seen as good, useful, or wholesome and twisting it into something unrecognizable. Hi, Future Frey here again. Now that Kanto 6 is out and done, I'm willing to stand by this being the intended interpretation of envy.
Okay.
And with that, we now have all the sins accounted for and just one thing left to address. These cover the abilities of the sinners in their current state. But remember the 2 rings from Shin I mentioned earlier?
Yeah.
Well, I kinda lied. While it's true that the
What?
sinners currently can't make use of those rings, it's more because everyone that has been able to use them has been shown to be either immensely powerful or at least out of the sinner's league. But with
Oh, really? Interesting. So there's a chance that the only reason they cannot use it is just they are just weak.
Kanto 6 releasing around the time of this video, we know there is a tier of power that Limbus has not shown us yet. And just maybe, they're not talking about enemies. Nope, nothing came of this. We didn't get Aleph enemies, we didn't get Aleph ego, we're not getting that yet.
This is so confusing. Holy shit. Like, dude. Like, at this point, remake the video. Holy.
Whatever does come of it though, I'm sure it'll stay in our minds for a long time. Yo, thanks for making it here. This video was fully written out before I had anything planned for Kanto 6, so the vibe's a little different from the more
Bro should have wait for Kanto 6 before making this video. Holy. But it's been Kanto 9 already. So this was 2 years ago. Holy. Is there a new video for this? What the hell? Okay, the next video is probably this one I'm going to watch. The breaking down of Rajamu's Shin full power system. Well, isn't that the same? Well, whatever. I guess I will watch it again for this one to kind of get more understanding in other person's perspective, I guess. But yeah, I think that's all from me. An interesting video about the sins. Yeah, interesting power system. Where like all I know that they get their powers from an entity that embodies the sin, right? So that's how they got their powers of sin, and only the sinners, right? I think so. Only the sinners can use this power or use this material of sin. Unlike the other Shin users, the Shin users only use the circle of light, right? But the sinners are using what I call the sin material. When this is 10 months ago, okay, maybe I should watch this too next time. But yeah, that's what I think at least. Yeah, I think so. I think only the sinner can use the sin power system, while the Shin is only for those who are not sinners, or maybe they can. It's just that the reason they become so powerful that they just don't need to use the sin resource anymore and just don't use the white ring. I don't know what the light ring is. But yeah, I think that's all from me. Thank you for watching. If you guys enjoy, please subscribe and please share the video to see more of my content, and please check out the Discord. And if you guys want me to react to any other Limbus company content, then you can post the link in the in the Discord. There's literally a channel for people who wants me to react to things. Sometimes I react to it, depends on the content being relevant or not for me to react, but sometimes I don't. It kind of depends if the content is worth of me checking it out. But yeah, and that's all. Peace out.